let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a rather fascinating topic. We've got King Charles and his surprising personal message to former US President Donald Trump during his inauguration. You know, it's not every day that you get a personal note from a royal, especially one as significant as King Charles III. But that's exactly what happened, and we're going to unpack it all. Why it matters, what it means, and how it fits into the broader narrative of British-American relations. Now, let's rewind the clock to January 20th, 2017. Yes, the day Trump was inaugurated as the 45th President of the United States. A day that many Americans, and indeed people around the world, were glued to their screens. Trump, known for his bold, brash style, was about to take the reins of the world's most powerful country. But among all the buzz, there was something else quietly unfolding. King Charles, or rather Prince Charles at the time, was sending a message to Trump. You might be wondering, why King Charles? What's his connection to Trump? Well, even though Trump and the British royal family weren't exactly besties, it wasn't unusual for royals to send well wishes during major world events. But in this case, it was personal. Not only because Charles had long been an advocate for international diplomacy, but also because he was set to become the future king of the United Kingdom. Now, let's talk about the message itself. You know, when it comes to royals, we usually hear them saying things like, wishing you a wonderful future, or looking forward to continued cooperation. But nope, King Charles went a step further. This was a personal note. A private letter. Not your typical formal diplomatic statement. It was a little more heartfelt, a little more personal. King Charles, or Prince Charles back then, expressed his congratulations, acknowledging the significant milestone in Trump's life, and by extension, the United States. But it wasn't just about the ceremony. It was about the relationship between the UK and the US, something that, let's face it, is pretty important. The UK and the US share a history that goes way beyond tea and crumpets. Though let's be honest, we'd all love a cup of tea right now. So what's the big deal? Why would King Charles bother sending a personal message to a controversial figure like Trump? Well, in royal circles, this is how diplomacy works. Royals don't usually get involved in politics in a public way. They have to remain neutral, a constant presence through changes in leadership, and act as symbols of unity and stability. It's a balancing act. On one hand, you've got the royal family representing the UK, but they also need to foster strong international relationships. By sending a personal message to Trump, King Charles was setting the tone for a relationship built on mutual respect, even if their personal styles were worlds apart. Let's take a moment to appreciate how royals are masters of diplomacy. Imagine you're King Charles. You're about to inherit the throne, you've spent your whole life preparing for this moment, and now you're sending a note to a man who's been quite a divisive figure worldwide. It's not just a friendly gesture. It's strategic. You've got to keep things cool, keep things respectful, but also leave room for future dialogue. And what better way to do that than with a simple note that says, hey, we may not agree on everything, but I'm here and ready to work together. It's almost like sending a we're on the same team, even if we play by different rules kind of vibe. Now, King Charles wasn't the only royal to interact with Trump. In fact, the royal family, particularly Queen Elizabeth II, had a complicated but cordial relationship with Trump. Trump was known for his, shall we say, colorful remarks about the royal family, but he did meet the Queen in 2018. And despite the mixed reviews from the British public, the Queen kept it classy, as she always does. But here's the thing. King Charles wasn't just sending a letter for the sake of tradition. There was a deeper recognition of the importance of the U.K.-US relationship. No matter who was in the White House. You know, one of the things that the royal family does best is provide continuity. Whether it's Winston Churchill or Franklin D. Roosevelt or, in this case, Donald Trump, the royals remain a constant presence through political upheaval, wars, and changing governments. They're like the ultimate long-term both in different parts of the world. And this, folks, is why this letter was so significant. King Charles was offering that sense of continuity. Even though Donald Trump's presidency was a break from what many considered traditional politics, the royal family stayed above the fray, symbolizing stability. But how did Trump respond to this gesture? Well, it's safe to say he didn't post about it on Twitter, which is surprising given his usual social media habits. But, in all seriousness, Trump acknowledged the message, and while it wasn't a headline moment, it did lay the foundation for the relationship that would continue to evolve over the next few years. Whether or not Trump took the message to heart, we'll never know. But one thing's for sure. King Charles knew the power of keeping things polite, respectful, and above all, diplomatic. It was a lesson in how to handle relationships when you're a public figure. Sometimes, it's not about agreeing on everything. It's about showing respect and fostering open channels for future conversations. Okay, folks, let's pause for a quick second. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the royal world, hit that like button, subscribe to Throne Talk, and don't forget to share with your friends who also love a bit of royal gossip and history. We've got lots more where this came from. What's next for King Charles? Now, as we look to the future, things are a bit different. With King Charles officially on the throne, his role as the head of the monarchy takes on new meaning. The U.K., U.S. relationship will continue to evolve, and who knows? Maybe King Charles will have more personal messages for future U.S. presidents. One thing's for sure, diplomacy isn't just about formalities. It's about personal connections, understanding, and respect. And King Charles, whether he's sending personal letters or leading the royal family into the modern age, understands that perfectly. So, what do you think? Do you believe King Charles was right to send that personal message to Trump? How do you feel about the relationship between the British royal family and U.S. presidents? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have a royal conversation. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Throne Talk, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time for more royal news, stories, and maybe a little bit of tea. No pun intended. Until then, stay royal.